What's up, everybody? It's Corey, host of the Grease Pole Podcast, back with another 2023 NFL Draft video. What we've been doing, obviously, since it is an Eagles pod and an Eagles channel, is running through several mocks that are solely focused on the birds. But today, and this is something that I've done for years and many draft people have as well, many football fans, and it's a hell of a lot easier now with mock simulators and everything all over the internet, but you put your own mock together, first round and so on down the line. So that's what I wanted to do here today as we're here. It's draft day. So first round mock, no trades in this one. I know that's kind of boring and lame now, but once you start projecting trades, it muddies the water a little bit, right? And then you have a team that's moved back a little bit, but the pick could still be viable. So I opted to just leave everybody where they're at, 1 through 31, Mel Kiper style. So again, if you want a reference point to our previous draft videos, click the link above, and that will take you to our NFL draft playlist for this year. So without further ado, let's get into the first round of the 2023 mock draft here on the Grease Pole Podcast, where we put the Carolina Panthers on the clock. And with the first overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama. And now that all the smoke is cleared and the dust is settled, it's just like we've known if you go back to last year. Bryce Young goes first overall. The question's always been to who, right? Who's going to have that first overall pick? We had the trade. Carolina moved up, so now we know where it is that he's going, down to Charlotte. With the second pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. I don't buy the rumors that Houston's going to go with Will Anderson and roll Davis Mills out there for another season, unless maybe, with DeMeco Ryans' connection to San Francisco, you've got kind of a trade in the works for Trey Lance. Aside from that, I think it's got to be Stroud. But his stock is starting to, public perception, to drop a little bit. So we'll see what happens. But Stroud at 2 to Houston. With the third pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Will Anderson, edge rusher out of Alabama. That trade at top of the draft works out perfectly for the Cards, as they get the best pass rusher on the board in a blue chipper in Anderson. New head coach Jonathan Gannon, he gets a premier pass rusher and will hopefully do more to help Anderson out than he did for Haason Reddick and Josh Sweat in Super Bowl 57. And maybe stop crying about Philly fans and the Philly media. Just saying, motherfucker. With the fourth pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Will Levis, quarterback out of Kentucky. Levis is my favorite quarterback in this draft, and I'll admit possible Penn State fan bias there on my part, but I love the match of Levis and Shane Steichen in Indianapolis. Tough kid, big arm, and he fits the mold of what the Colts as an organization typically target. With the fifth pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Jalen Carter, defensive tackle out of Georgia. This is the other blue chip defensive lineman in this draft who's had some stuff come to light in recent weeks. But talent will always trump character. All right, just fucking look at Tyreek Hill. So Seattle is going to land one of the best defensive tackle prospects we've seen in quite some time, and it also fills a significant need in the process for the Seahawks. With the sixth pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Lucas Van Ness, edge rusher out of Iowa. I'm higher on Van Ness than most, but I've thought for the past month that he'd go in the top 10, so I'm not going to bail on him at the 11th hour. He's built like an Adonis. He's nicknamed Hercules, for fuck's sake. He's incredibly strong and keeps his pad level low while bending that edge. His best football's ahead of him, and I love the idea of Van Ness pairing with Aiden Hutchinson to give Detroit an impressive pair of pass rushers for the next 5 to 7 years. With the seventh pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois. And, man, Witherspoon's tape is fun to watch. It's in a deep class of corners that all bring a level of physicality. Witherspoon is the most physical of the bunch. And the Raiders have tumbleweed in their secondary in a division where, you face Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes twice a year. This gets them back on the right track. With the eighth pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Tyree Wilson, edge rusher out of Texas Tech. There's been rumblings of Bijan Robinson here, but it just doesn't make sense. Atlanta made a lot of moves in free agency, but Robinson here just feels like a waste. Wilson would make more of an impact for the Falcons, who finished with only 21 sacks in 2022. Wilson's a physical freak at 6'6", 270 with an 86-inch wingspan. His length and versatility are absolutely worth betting on. And now that you've got, now you're going to have that difference maker coming off the edge if you're the Falcons defense. With the 9th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle out of Ohio State. The organization is clearly behind Justin Fields after trading out of the first overall pick, so you better be able to protect him. Chicago missed out on all the top offensive tackles in free agency, so the best pure tackle on the board here makes perfect sense. He's got all the tools to be a high-end left tackle at the NFL level. It's a simple yet smart pick for Bears GM Ryan Poles. With the 10th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Peter Skoronski, offensive lineman out of Northwestern. Look, a month ago I was dead set against Bijan Robinson here, but as we've approached the 27th draft day, I'm coming around on the idea, but I still wouldn't bet on it. Skoronski's my guy here. Is he a tackle? Is he a guard? It doesn't matter. Howie Roseman will love him, and so will Jalen Hurts. Obviously, Isaac Seumalo left for Pittsburgh. You leave that vacancy there at right guard. Cam Jurgens has said he'd love to play guard next to Jason Kelsey, but even if that happens, it's just a stopgap for 1 year, which still leaves an eventual vacancy at guard, and Lane Johnson isn't going to play forever either. So wherever he lines up in the NFL, more than likely at guard, Skoronski is one of the safest picks in this draft, and if you're Howie Roseman, you don't plan on picking in the top 10 again for a few years. You maintain the best offensive line in football, and you grab an elite prospect for the next generation of Stoutland University. With the 11th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida. If you're going to draft Richardson, you can't just throw him to the Wolves, right? The Titans are looking for a quarterback, and it's a perfect scenario for Richardson, who's dynamic as shit, and he's very boom or bust, though. So here, in Nashville, he can sit behind Ryan Tannehill for a year before taking over the reins of the Titans offense. With the 12th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Nolan Smith, edge rusher out of Georgia. New head coach DeMeco Ryans lands the cornerstone here for his defense with Smith, who's an impressive athlete coming off the edge, and he's got the potential to be the best pass rusher of this class 5 years from now. Nolan Smith is a stud. With the 13th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver out of Ohio State. It feels like insanity to continue to mock wide receivers to the Packers in the first round when it never actually happens. But how funny would it be if, after all the years of taking defensive players with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, if they finally snagged that wide receiver in the first round for Jordan Love's first full year as the starter? With the 14th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College. I've had Flowers here for 2 months, and it still feels kind of like the move for New England. Bill Belichick rarely does what the pundits say he should or would do, and corners the popular pick here. But you've got to see what you've got in Mac Jones, and you can't do that with TikTok Boy and Kendrick Bourne. You've got to be able to keep pace with the offenses in the AFC East. Speaking of, with the 15th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Broderick Jones, offensive tackle out of Georgia. The Aaron Rodgers trade finally happened a couple days ago, so it's a very on-brand pick here for GM Joe Douglas. You've still got the question Mekhi Becton, and Broderick Jones is a plug-and-play starter at left tackle from day one to protect your new franchise quarterback. With the 16th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon. This is solid value here for Washington as they land arguably the best corner of this class midway through the first round. The Commanders could use a corner, and Gonzalez is versatile in that you can line him up anywhere, and he transcends scheme. 6'1", 197 pounds, and he's got speed, he's got length, and ball skills in a division where you've got 3 other teams that are capable of scoring at a high rate. With the 17th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Joey Porter Jr., cornerback out of Penn State. It's a typical Steeler pick. Pittsburgh loves to do shit like this. Porter's dad was a Steeler for 8 years, so drafting his son in a position of need would pop the fan base. There's a reason this is a popular match among the mock community. With the 18th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Deonte Banks, cornerback out of Maryland. You can never have too many corners, and despite addressing the secondary in free agency, Detroit did just trade former third overall pick Jeff Okudah to the Falcons, and you've got Banks' size, length, experience, and his versatility gives them youth and impressive depth at corner for defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, who's one of the best in the business. With the 19th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Darnell Wright, offensive tackle out of Tennessee. The Bucs are in the middle of a quasi-rebuild, but with Donovan Smith gone, left tackle is now easily their biggest need. And watching Wright against Will Anderson was a blast. And for a team that's probably going to run the ball a lot this year with Baker Mayfield, unless you take a quarterback in Tampa, Wright's a perfect fit. He's a mauler as a run blocker, and he's good in pass pro as well. I love this pick in this match for Tampa. With the 20th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Myles Murphy, edge rusher out of Clemson. GM John Schneider doubles down on the defensive line here with Murphy after the run on pass rushers, and he gives the Seahawks youth and upside along the edge with Murphy here. The Miami Dolphins forfeit what would have been the 21st pick due to tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. So Miami get the hell out of here. And with the 21st pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. I absolutely love the idea of a high-end tight end, a top-flight tight end with Justin Herbert, but it's a deep-ass tight end class. And Austin Eckler, with him on the outs, Robinson's slide down the board comes to an end here. The best running back prospect we've seen since Saquon Barkley, and he would absolutely add a different dimension to this offense and to Justin Herbert's game as well. With the 22nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC. This could somehow end up being parlayed into a DeAndre Hopkins trade. We'll see. But Eric DeCosta, Ravens GM, is smart, as you know, his approach pays off once again. You sit there and you let the board fall to you and take the former Biletnikoff Award winner, which you can now pair with Odell Beckham, Rashad Bateman, and Mark Andrews. He's a great route runner as Addison, and suddenly now that Ravens offense would be loaded with weapons. With the 23rd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Will McDonald IV, edge rusher out of Iowa State. Look, the purple team could go a number of directions here. Wide receiver now with the loss of Adam Thielen to Carolina. Grab the best corner available, but the Vikings defense doesn't have an identity anymore, and you take a step towards getting that back with a guy that can put the quarterback on his ass. McDonald to Minnesota feels like a good match to me. I love this pick if I'm the Vikings. With the 24th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah. The Jags are another team that could go a couple different directions here, and it would make sense, but I think they grabbed the best tight end in the draft with Evan Ingram only playing on the franchise tag this year and not locked up long term. Trevor Lawrence will be getting paid before you know it, right? So you might as well surround him with as much talent as you can while he's still on that rookie contract before Trevor Lawrence is the next guy due up after Burrow and Herbert. You know how the cycle works with these quarterback contracts. With a 25th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback out of Mississippi State. Receiver is the popular choice here, and I get it. But Forbes makes sense here because despite that lean build, the Jersey Giants only had an abysmal 6 interceptions last year. Forbes led the FBS in interceptions, and when you've got a defensive coordinator that likes to blitz as much as Wink Martindale does, you better have guys on the back end that can make plays and cover. I love Emmanuel Forbes here as a match to the New York Giants. As an Eagles fan, I don't want it to happen, but there you go. Speaking of, with the 26th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys, the Antichrist, select Brian Branch, safety out of Alabama. If Bijan Robinson falls to Dallas, they'll absolutely feel the heat to take the running back out of Texas. I don't think he makes it. Maybe they move up, and I know that Dallas needs a tight end, but it's a deep tight end class, and it pains me to say that the Cowboys have drafted well in recent years. So I've got that first safety coming off the board here with Brian Branch to bolster the secondary for the Cowboys. He's a great football player. He's incredibly smart with a high football IQ that even Nick Saban trusted. That tells you everything you need to know about Brian Branch. With the 27th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles, fuck me running. Let's try that again. With the 27th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Osiris Torrance, guard out of Florida. This may not be a sexy pick, but the Bills address the interior of their offensive line for Josh Allen with the best pure guard prospect in this class. I also had an asterisk here next to Drew Sanders, linebacker out of Arkansas, and Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver out of Tennessee here. But again, Josh Allen, you've got one of the Rushmore quarterbacks in the league. If you're Buffalo, that interior of the offensive line could use a little love, and that's exactly what Torrance would provide. With the 28th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Julius Brents, cornerback out of Kansas State. Look, what was once a solid secondary in Cincinnati is taking a hit with Jesse Bates and Von Bell leaving for the NFC South. You got Chidobe Awuzie coming off a torn ACL, and both he and Mike Hilton have a year left on their current contracts. The Bengals stay young on the back end with Brents, who's a tough player and an incredible wingspan that will come in handy in a loaded AFC conference. With the 29th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Keon White, edge rusher out of Georgia Tech. Their defensive line could definitely use a little love, and the Saints, much like Seattle, are always unpredictable with Mickey Loomis. White feels like a Loomis pick, and I love the upside he brings. A former tight end at ODU, 6'5", 285. His speed at that size is rare, and while he's still super raw right now, if that proverbial switch flips, he's going to be a fucking problem in this league. With the 30th pick in the with the 30th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select, I knew how to pronounce his name earlier. I did this again. Adetomiwa Idebawore, defensive lineman out of Northwestern. Howie Roseman doubles down with Northwestern dudes here, right? You go from heavy Georgia, to heavy Northwestern. I think this could also be the pick used to get Budda Baker or trade back for more picks. But right here at 30, Idebawore makes sense for the Birds. You get that inside-outside versatility that Howie loves. You can play edge or the 3 technique. Freakish athleticism. He had a killer combine, one of the most impressive we've ever seen. Howie values traits over production, and you add to a strength along the defensive line here while adding that youth for the long-term rotation when guys like BG and Fletch inevitably retire. With the 31st pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle out of Pitt. The Chiefs and Frank Clark weren't able to come to an agreement on a restructured contract, and Kancey gives Chris Jones running mate on the inside of that Chiefs defensive line that would absolutely be a problem for opposing offensive lines. The knock on Kancey is he's undersized at 6'1", 280, but much like Chris Jones, he can collapse the pocket and pressure the quarterback. He's not just a run-stopping defensive tackle. He's a pass-rushing one as well. He can do it all. He fires off the snap with a quick first step, quick feet, and quick hands, and is great value for KC with the last pick in the first round. So there you have it. What are your thoughts on your team's pick? If you're an Eagles fan, what are your thoughts on the double down of Northwestern dudes? Let me know your thoughts on your team's pick. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Utilize that comment section below. Comment your thoughts and your picks as well for your team or for the Birds. And we've got plenty more draft content coming your way, plenty more opinions as draft day, draft weekend is finally here. It only comes once a year. It's like Christmas morning. If it's your cocaine too, please hit that subscribe button. Again, we're an Eagles pod and an Eagles page, but there's going to be something here for everybody as the NFL draft and as the season approaches as well. So hit that subscribe button, leave your comment below, and we'll see you plenty of times here on the channel over the course of the next couple of days. It's draft weekend. As always, go Birds.